Hello again everybody, especially my IELTS advanced students. Welcome to the second video of a model answer for an IELTS speaking test. Today I'm going to make a full-length IELTS speaking exam model, so it's going to take about 11 minutes to 13 minutes in length. Part 1. Number 1. How do most people travel to work where you live? In Vietnam, motorbikes are such a transportation culture, so a lot of people travel to work in motorbikes every morning from about 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. And every afternoon from about 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. You will see that the street is filled with motorbikes. It is crowded with motorbikes. In rush hours, such as the hours that I've just mentioned, there are so many motorbikes that sometimes motorbikes cause traffic jams during those hours. Question number 2. What traffic problems are there in your area and why? So as I mentioned in my answer to the first question, in Vietnam a lot of people use motorbikes. So motorbikes are widespread. You can see motorbikes everywhere. You will see that the streets are filled with motorbikes, especially in financial districts, in work area in the center, in the city center during rush hours. You will see that a lot of motorbikes will cause traffic jams. People will be moving very slowly, so that is such a big problem, a biggest problem in Vietnam. Another problem caused by motorbikes is that a lot of people use motorbike, and as you know, one motorbike maybe takes about only 2 people, or at most 2 adults and 1 child, sometimes 2 children. So there are so many motorbikes that the air is terribly polluted. People will have to breathe the diesel smell-filled air every day when they have to go to work and when they have to go from work back to home. How do traffic problems affect you? Oh, it affects a lot. Every day I have to travel to work as well. I have to travel to work from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30. Sometimes I have to travel from 7:30, sometimes I have to 8:30. Either time it will be very crowded with motorbikes, so every day I have to move very slowly. I will have to spare sometimes around 30 minutes, 45 minutes in order to be able to travel to work on time. Sometimes I have to even spend an hour, even though the place I am living is not too far away from the workplace. Number 4. How would you reduce the traffic problems in your area? If I were a policymaker in Vietnam, I would reduce the traffic problem by upgrading the public transportation system. In Vietnam, the public transportation system is very weak compared to the public transportation system in countries around Southeast Asia, such as Singapore, Malaysia. I've never been to Indonesia, so I'm not sure about the public transportation system there. However, the public transportation system in Vietnam is very weak. So I would spend a lot of a government budget, a tax budget, in order to upgrade the transportation system so that fewer people will use motorbikes, which will eventually reduce traffic problems in Vietnam. Okay, let's move on to part 2. Part 2. Describe a game or sport that you enjoy playing. You should say what kind of game or sport it is, who you play it with, where you play it, and explain why you enjoy playing it. Okay, let's start. The kind of game that I really enjoy playing is played a lot in Asian countries, especially China, Singapore, Vietnam, Southeast Asian country. Japanese people also play it a lot. Korean people also play it a lot. A lot of athletes from European countries also play it a lot. And even people from America play it. This game is called Badminton. So when I was in university and even when I was at postgraduate school, I every day from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I would ask my friend who also enjoy playing it to play with me. This is kind of a team game where about two people in a team would play against each other. So this is a very, very enjoyable team game. I often go with my friends to go to the recreational center to play badminton. When I graduated from postgraduate school, I also registered for a gym membership near my family place in Michigan, in the Midwestern of the United States, in order to be able to play badminton with other fellow gym members. I really enjoy playing badminton because badminton is a team game. Even though it's single players on each side, you also have to compete with another person on the other side of the badminton court. So it gives me a sense of team playing. Without badminton, I would have been very isolated. I would not have a lot of social life. So badminton gives me a sense of social life, sociability, and also help me to communicate with other people. Because when I play badminton, I would have to play inside one team in order to play against another team on the other side of the badminton court. Okay, let's move on to part 3. Games and competition. Question number 1. Do you think competitive games are good or bad for children? In what ways? I really support the notion that competitive games are good for children. The economy nowadays is such a highly developed economy. The world is becoming flatter and flatter. So that's why the sense of competitiveness, the sense of competition will help the children immensely when they grow up. They would have to, because they live in a competitive economy, everyone is competing with each other in order to boost the economy. So competition will just help the children in good ways instead of in bad ways. Okay. Question number 2. How can games sometimes help to unite people? Okay. As I mentioned in my part 2 answer, where I talked about playing badminton as one of my enjoyable games, I talked about the fact that games or sports are team games and team sports. So it has a lot of team playing in it. It helps people to play together. It has to have people ask other people around them to play with them. As a result, team games and sports are social sports and social communication. That's why the Rio Olympic or other Olympic games in the world that happens so far promote sportsmanship, where people gather together in order to play together, and to it also promote peace in the world. That's how games help to unite people. Okay. Question number 3. Why is competition often seen as important in today's society? So this question has a lot to do with question number 1, where we talked about competitive games that are good for children in good way. So today, competition is everywhere. The world, as I mentioned, is flatter and flatter. And the economy is developing higher and higher. So competition is very much needed. Children, even teenagers, even adults need competition in order to live in such an economy in the world. Competition help people to try harder, take the best out of themselves in order to boost the economy, in order to develop themselves, in order to fend for their own families, in turn boosting the economy and developing the country specifically where they live, and also the entire world in general. Because as I mentioned, the world is becoming flatter and flatter. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows about the situations in the world through the digital devices. in a digital age through the internet. So the world is becoming flatter, competition is everywhere, everyone knows about the product, everyone is very well informed. So companies, organizations have to be very, very competitive in order to survive in such a competitive world, such a flat world. Okay, so that was my model answer, model exam for an IELTS speaking exam. Today, you can see that my speed is a little faster. I've been speaking faster than last time, in order for you to be more used to the kind of speaking speed in an IELTS exam. Okay, I hope that this will be able to help you in your preparation for your future exams. Goodbye.